Alright guys, tonight we're going to make a chicken tetrazzini. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some rotisserie chicken and I'm going to slice it up into some pieces. So here we, just different sizes. You want it to be kind of chopped up, cubed, diced a little bit. Doesn't matter, different size pieces are fine. But basically, kind of like that. That's fine. And I'm going to do 2 breasts for the size meal I'm making tonight, and probably a leg. Alright, 2 breasts done. I'll grab a leg and the leg, and I'll just pull the meat off with my hand and then chop it up a little bit. And that's good. Now we'll move on to the next step here. Alright, next I'm going to preheat my oven to 375. Get that going. Alright, next I got a pot of water on the stove to a boil. Then I have linguine noodles. I like linguine noodles for the tetrazzini. So then I break them in half. I took about 3/4 of the package of linguine noodles. And I broke them in half. I'm going to put them in the water. Usually I wait for this to boil. I just had a brain fart, but whatever. I'll put them in now. It won't make a difference in the end. So once those come to a boil and start getting done, I'll check back in. While those noodles are coming to a boil, I'll show you the other ingredients. So we have our chicken. I have a can of cream of chicken and mushroom soup. Now, you can get just cream of chicken soup, and you could get just a cream of mushroom soup, but this has them both, and I like having both. So if I didn't have that, I would use cream of chicken and a cream of mushroom. You could use both of cream of chicken or both cream of mushroom if you want. It won't make a big difference. I like a lot of mushrooms in my tetrazzini, so I have the small mushrooms, and I also have a bigger. Oh, here it is. I have a bigger thing of mushrooms here, and I'll put both of those in there. Make sure you drain the mushrooms well, because a lot of extra water will make this a drippy mess, and you don't want that. We'll use a stick of butter, and I have sliced pimentos. I always just do the little one. It adds color. I don't know, adds a little flavor. I have Parmesan cheese and some mild cheddar cheese, which I'll sprinkle pretty sparingly on top. It shouldn't be like macaroni and cheese, but it'll brown up nice and look nice on top. So we'll check back once these noodles are done, and I'll show you how to start putting things together. Alright, so now that the noodles are boiling, I'll put half a stick of butter in my frying pan. One of these days I gotta get a tripod going, but I'm just too lazy. So I get a half a stick of butter going here. You don't need the butter if you don't want it. It does make it taste a lot better. Into there, you're going to add your cream of mushroom or cream of chicken soup, or both in my case. And what I'll do is, as soon as I put this down, I'll use a spoon to scoop out the rest of that. I'm going to put the camera down for a second and scoop the rest of that out. Alright, so that's in there. I'm going to mix that soup all in with the butter. And then I'm going to add about a can and a half of milk. I'm not going to add a ton of milk because I don't want to make soup. As the oven is preheated. Stir the noodles again so these linguine noodles don't stick together. coming along nice. I'll turn down the heat on this a little bit. My refrigerator is completely empty almost. I just cleaned it out. We got one can, and we'll add about a half of another. There we go. And I dropped my spoon, which is a result of not having a tripod, of course. And I'll mix this in and turn it into a soup, just like when you make cream of mushroom or cream of celery or any kind of those soups. You got to incorporate the milk into the condensed soup mix. So I'm going to do that for a couple minutes, and I'll turn you back on and show you where we're at next. Alright, that's been incorporating for a couple minutes, so I'm going to put my mushrooms in. And I do like a lot of mushrooms, so bear with me here, and I will open up this can as well, put them in there. Simmer a little bit, because this sauce will thicken as it simmers a bit. And another trick that I like to do with chicken or turkey tetrazzini, either one, is you can, you know, the Parmesan that you put in there is going to thicken it up a little bit too. You sprinkle little breadcrumbs in the sauce here that we pour over the noodles. It'll thicken it a little bit too, and I like the taste. And on the top of the tetrazzini, sprinkle little breadcrumbs with the cheese. So it's kind of just a neat little tip that makes it taste a little better. Now we can put in our sliced pimentos now. Give it a second while I open these. All right, just popped open, and then there's just a little bit of juice in there. I'll drain that off because again, we don't want this to be able to squeeze a little bit. We don't want this to be real juicy. We're going to actually want some of the liquid to come out of there while it's cooking. And now these pimentos, stir this again. If nothing else, it does add a nice color to it, makes it kind of pretty, and the flavor is good, but you don't, and especially I don't use that much, so it doesn't add a ton of flavor. But if you're making like a turkey a la king too, the pimentos with the green, if you sliced up or diced some green peppers, that goes real good in here too. So anyway, I'm going to get the dish ready that we're going to start compiling this with. And I got to add my Parmesan cheese here in a second, so I'll be right back. We'll get that prepared. Alright, so now we got our Parmesan cheese, and I'll probably dump, a quarter of this in there. About like that. And then I'll mix that cheese up in there. That'll add a nice kind of tang to this. Alright, now this is basically done. I will add my chicken now. Mix that in. Stir it in good. And you can use turkey for this. If whatever you have leftovers, I bought a rotisserie chicken for it. And that's about it. Now what we'll do, we'll get our noodles out, strain them. Now remember, the noodles are going to continue to cook for a while because they're going to be baked. Let me turn this off a second while I strain this so I don't burn myself. Okay, so now I have my linguine noodles done. What I'll do is bring this over to the stove, and I'll pour this right into our sauce. And I'll stir this up good. Completely incorporate it into this mix. You could almost just eat it like this, but it's going to be better the way we set it up here. So thoroughly incorporate it. Once that's done, I'm going to put it into our baking dish. I'll show you how that works out here in a second. Okay, it's basically incorporated in there. Yeah, darling. Yeah, sure. Let me see what you got going on.
See them.
Oh, they're cold. You were outside hanging out, huh? All right, stay away from the stove because it's hot, bud.
Can you give me some there?
Yeah, in a minute. It'll be done in a little bit. All right, go away. So
I want a big bowl of cheese.
Okay, well, give me a minute. Can you go away from the stove, though? Because I got to go away from the stove because this is hot. Okay. So now I take this over here. Stay away from the stove, bud. And I'll just pour this right in there. It ain't pretty because I'm using it one-handed. Just like that. Got that in there. Now I use my fork. Spread this out like that. There we go. Wipe up the side here where I was spilling because I was using one hand. There we go. Gotta clean up this mess. Now I'm going to put a little more Parmesan cheese on the top. Like that. And I'm going to sprinkle some cheddar on the top too. And I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of breadcrumbs. Let me get the cheddar open. Alright, so now I got my cheddar here. I'm not going to use too much cheddar because, like I said, I don't want this to be mac and cheese. But we'll sprinkle a little bit on top. Like that. It'll add a little color too. And then I like to sprinkle some breadcrumbs. Not a lot, just enough to give it a little bit of a crust. Those breadcrumbs will brown up a little bit in the oven as well.
You're going to put it in the oven?
I am. And like that. And that's it. Now, I'll put it in the oven. Give me a second. Alright, so I put it in the oven. I'm going to set my timer for about 25 minutes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to check it, see if it's browning on top. See how it's going. If it's starting to look like it's done and it's browning too much, I'll take it out. Once you want to check it, just pull it out, stick a fork in it, see if it's drying out in the middle. Another thing I didn't do that you should do, grease the pan a little bit with some butter. I forgot to do that. When it comes out, I'm guessing it could be sticking a little bit on the sides. I usually do that, but I forgot. So I'll check back in about 20-25 minutes. We'll check it, see how it's coming along. Okay, so here's the chicken tetrazzini. You can see the breadcrumbs and the cheese kind of browning up there. I'm going to plate it up real quick. And there it is with a piece of the crostini bread with cream cheese and tomato pesto and chicken tetrazzini. We'll see what it tastes like here. Gonna be hot. Take a piece here and let it cool down. It's perfect. And the linguine noodle is the way to go. Don't use spaghetti noodle. Use linguine. That's it. Chicken tetrazzini. Thanks for watching.